I'm Alison Reynolds-Berry. I'm the director of the Intercommunity Justice and Peace Center. And as we were thinking about this presentation, we were thinking about how we got started. And Brendan mentioned a lot of the different groups and work that had taken place previous to starting the Immigrant Dignity Coalition. And we, a year ago at this time, came together to ask, is there a need to bring all of these groups together again to look at this work, at these needs in a new way? And so in December of last year, we asked and invited maybe 50 or more organizations. I think 50 came, we probably invited many more. Organizations, faith communities, lots of different representation throughout greater Cincinnati to come together and ask, is there a need for a coalition to exist? Now that we know what the next administration is going to be, now that we know some of those priorities, it sounds like there is a lot of concern within our own community. How can we respond? And the overwhelming response was yes, a coalition is needed. And so folks came together after that gathering and it spread the word to many more people to invite people to come together and say, so coalition is needed, but what should we focus on? What should our priorities be? What are the main concerns within the immigrant community? And so we heard feedback from folks, and that's one of the really wonderful things that I think helps our coalition to function, is that we didn't come together and Brendan and I sit in a room and say, here's the 4 things that we should focus on. But really we've solicited community feedback from immigrants, from allies, from people who are working directly with our friends and neighbors. We are, as of maybe 5 minutes ago, now 27 members. And again, you have that list in front of you, which also will include the Women's City Club, which we're very excited about. And it's a spread of education and labor and faith and organizational groups and individuals who are interested in doing what they can to support our immigrant brothers and sisters. One of the really important things that we've done is to say each of these people or each of these groups are doing work in their own way. But there wasn't always a way to keep one another informed of the work that was happening. Or if there was something, an issue arising with one person in one group or a number of people, for example, at Sukasa, we were then able to say, we're hearing this from this community. Is anyone else hearing this in their organization? Is anyone else hearing this in their faith community? And so we're able to communicate well with one another through a number of different modes. One way is through an immigrant dignity report that comes out on a regular basis depending on the needs and the concerns or the news that is arising, and has news and links to information that we think is relevant that people should know about, or upcoming events or opportunities that folks might be interested in. There's also a Facebook group, and it allows people to ask for help or share other information or just be connected in an informal way on their own, which all of you are invited. It's a closed group. Anyone who is interested is welcome to do that, but we didn't want to put that public just so that folks could have some privacy and protection and know that it wasn't something that internet trolls or anyone would be able to access. We've also done a lot of work through the steering committee to collaborate with groups like Brendan mentioned earlier, like the Sanctuary Coalition, to make sure that our work is working in line with the other groups that are continuing to support immigrants locally. Connecting undocumented immigrants to deportation defense is another thing that we've been able to do, and Samantha and Magda are going to share some more specific examples of what that has looked like locally. We have heard from folks that are doing organizing throughout the state that Cincinnati is one of the most organized cities in Ohio for immigrant rights, which is something that I feel really proud of. I know that it is a lot of work for so many different organizations, so many different people to take time to communicate with one another, right? It's an extra step. But we have found over the last year that it's been really helpful in addressing concerns that we have as organizations, addressing concerns for immigrants themselves, and try to incorporate everyone as part of that. In thinking about what has been different now, a year later, I would say 100% we feel really confident in the ways that we're able to collaborate, in the ways that we are able to have a sense of what's happening in the city, and are in a much better place to leverage the relationships and the connections and the information that each person is able to share to then create change at the individual and the community level. And so again, Samantha and Magda have some stories that they're going to share, so I'd like to invite both of them up and they can introduce themselves and then share what some of the concrete examples have looked like for the Immigrant Dignity Coalition.